Hello and welcome to another episode of the Melton True Blue Podcast. This is episode 4, and once again our mission statement for the Melton True Blue Podcast is we are all things and everything Melton. Today we are excited about our guest, our first office employee guest. We've had a few drivers on the podcast, but today we have Miss Donni Scott here with us today, and we are excited to dive into that a little bit. Fall is in the air. October 18th is today. Really quick, do you guys have any fall things you're doing right now?
I went to Broken Bow this past weekend.
Fun.
Super fall-like over there.
Yeah.
Leaves are falling. It was super nice. Highly recommend that place.
Just been spending the evenings watching scary movies.
What's your favorite scary movie? That sounds like Scream. What's your favorite scary movie?
We watched, starts with an M. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Starts with an M. Come on, Scott. We're movie people.
Okay, you have to tell me, is it...
Like, is it a slasher?
It's new. It came out last year.
Okay.
Oh.
It's about a girl that has a twin brother, but they're actually attached, and it's like a demon in the back of her head.
Oh my gosh. I have no idea.
The only scary movie I know is Insidious. Literally,
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm
not a scary
movies.
movie person.
Yeah.
Like, the scariest movie is Hocus Pocus. Literally, that's it, and that's not even
Have you
scary.
watched Hocus Pocus 2 yet?
No.
Have you seen Hocus Pocus 2?
No.
Well, I'm the only one who's seen it.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
great.
even know if I've seen Hocus Pocus 1.
That's a travesty.
That is.
Literally a
You
travesty.
really need to watch it, especially with your kids right now. It's perfect time for them.
I tried to get the 6-year-old to watch it. She didn't want to.
It's a good one for the 6-year-old. It's a great show. It's classic. For me, fall right now, we do Harry Potter every October. We watch all.
Love that. I'm
Yeah.
going to come hang out at your house then.
Yeah, we do all 7 Harry Potters.
No, there's 8. 8 movies.
Sorry, 8 movies. We just finished Sorcerer's Stone, the first one, and so now we're on to Chamber of Secrets, which is probably my personal favorite, actually.
I would say I like...
Mine's like Deathly Hallows 1 and 2.
No, I like 5th movie, 4th book.
See, I haven't read the books, so I'm mad at it.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, I need to read the books, and I've heard the audibles are actually pretty good, the books, too.
Oh.
So maybe I'll listen to them. I probably won't. I'll probably just continue to watch the movies just because it's a little bit easier, but that's okay. And then, of course, I don't know, I'm not into the whole, pumpkin spice latte things.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
I don't drink coffee.
No.
So.
Yeah, you don't drink coffee at all, so yeah, that's not for you at all. Fall foods, though, Trader Joe's has butternut squash mac and cheese.
I've heard it's delicious.
It's so good.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Have you ate it yet?
No.
I should have brought you guys some.
Yeah, we should have a taste
You
test.
should.
Yeah, well, we went and stocked up on our freezer. We probably have 12 of them still because we buy all of them because they sell out really quick.
But isn't there a pumpkin spice ravioli? Not pumpkin spice, but there's a
pumpkin
ravioli.
ravioli.
I haven't tried that one. Trader Joe's has so many cool little things that you just go in the store. I usually hate going grocery shopping, but Trader Joe's I'm just a sucker.
It's
I
fun.
enjoy looking at it. It's fun.
That's
It's festive.
Midtown. That's too far from me.
Yeah. Where are you at?
Coweta.
Coweta.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So you're
that's
kind of
pretty
out there.
far.
Are you on Highway 51?
So more by an SUBA. So
Okay.
borderline Broken Arrow.
Yeah, you're not too far from there. And then you start getting some restaurants out there.
I don't go
there.
past Lynn Lane.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, okay.
I hate Lynn Lane. Lynn Lane's so busy.
Lynn Lane's
It's
the
awful.
worst.
It is. It's,
And we both live off
We
Lynn
do.
Lane.
Yeah. And
It's
the
worst.
Target traffic is awful. I'm not a fan of it. It's just gotten too busy and it's
Here's
too much.
what we should really try. So Brock's, who makes the candy corn,
Mm-hmm.
they have different flavored candy corn. And they have this is what we're going to do for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thanksgiving themed candy corn.
But would that be turkey dressing
Yes.
flavored candy corn?
Yes.
Ugh.
Stuffing.
Yes.
Stuffing candy
Stuffing,
corn.
like cranberry.
I hate candy corn as it is.
I don't like candy corn either, but I want to see if it tastes like what it says it tastes like.
I've never heard of
No.
Brock's. I've never heard of that.
That's just
It's
the
the
brand.
brand.
Oh, okay.
That's just the brand of candy corn.
Okay, yeah.
Like
so I
whoever
don't eat
makes candy
corn, and that's so yeah. I probably won't dive into that, but I would be.
No, it would be a fun taste test.
Yeah, okay, I'll try it with you. It's almost
Yeah.
like the jelly beans that
Yeah.
the disgusting
Yeah.
flavor. You're talking about Harry Potter, the booger flavor and all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
Kinda like
but
that.
it's like candy corn and it's Thanksgiving themed.
Yeah, I remember when that was a
So,
thing, getting the little.
Like gravy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
So we should do
Yeah.
that. We should
Halloween
subject
costumes.
ourselves to
Halloween
that.
costumes. Does anyone do anything for Halloween?
I'll dress my dog up.
As.
She's gonna be Yoda.
Oh, that's cute. Or Grogu from
Yeah, or
Mandalorian.
Grogu.
Yeah.
And whatever you choose.
Yeah, that'd be fine. What
I
about you?
tried to do a League of Their Own theme with the family,
Okay.
but nobody was buying it. So
So you guys aren't doing Halloween at all? I mean, are you just dressing up?
My 12-year-old, of course, he's at that age that he probably won't dress up, but Lila's going to be a Pennywise clown.
Okay.
That's
But
terrifying.
I wanted her to be Kit from A League of Their Own, and then I could have been Dottie, and then Cody could have been
Tom
Jimmy.
Hanks. Yeah.
And then Riker, I would have like smeared chocolate on his face, and he could have been the little boy.
Cute.
But
can I just say something that you guys are gonna hate? I've never seen that movie.
oh
Really?
my gosh.
Yeah. So you need to watch Hocus Pocus. You need to watch Leader.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've watched both of those movies, and they're both great. So. We are doing Star Wars this year. I'm going as Anakin Skywalker.
I'll bring my dog over.
Oh my gosh.
And then
he could be Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hang out.
So we are both going Star Wars theme. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm not dressing up. My dog is.
Okay. So my wife, your dog, and myself.
Yeah.
Can be,
I'll just bring my dog over.
Yeah, we'll just have a random dog.
Yeah.
But we're going to do Indy, my dog, as Chewbacca because he's like a.
Okay. You can just adopt my dog for the evening.
Yeah.
Take her out.
Okay. We can probably arrange that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. I'm glad you guys are in the season. I'm glad we're being festive. That's important. I love this weather. I love fall. Favorite time of the year. But let's dive into the podcast. Let's get to learn a little more about Donni Scott here. So, Donni, tell us what you do here at Melton Truck Lines.
So, I am a territory account manager or supervisor for Team West. So, I handle, I supervise the territory account managers for the West from Texas to Minnesota and then all the way over.
What divides Team West and Team East?
Really, there's no
I-35.
No, because it's kind of funky the way it cuts through.
Okay.
Like Iowa and Missouri are actually split with Team East and Team West.
Okay, but
and Minnesota is as well.
You are Team West, and I feel like that's probably. Is there more states on Team West?
Less, because they're bigger.
They're bigger.
Less,
That's
but
true.
it's a bigger area.
So it kind of So it's kind of like a catch-22, double-edged sword kind of thing. And so when you walk in the door, start as territory account manager, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you started here in
January of 2020. So 6 weeks before everybody was sent home
Oh,
for COVID.
That's. I feel like you've been here for way
longer.
than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, maybe just time's moving slower, I guess. But
Who knows?
I feel like you've been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
But you haven't been 2 years and still loving it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
no place I'd rather be.
It's different things every single day, right?
Yeah. Whenever I'm training employees and they're sitting with me, when they first get hired on, they always ask well, what is it like here?
Yeah.
And I really feel like I'm a salesperson, and they probably think so too, because I'm like, it is amazing. Like the culture, the people, it's all just a family, and they kind of look at me like, you're just trying to sell this place to me. This is just part of the sales pitch. And then it's kind of, when they're here about a week, I'm like, so do you believe what I said now? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, but you probably thought I was just telling you that. And they're like, yeah.
I think we've all drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
But I do the same thing. When I'm in my interviews, I'm like, I know I get paid to tell you how great it is here, but I'm being so honest. I'm being so sincere. I feel like a used car salesman. I'm like, oh, this thing's great. This place is awesome. But it's so true. The people here are great. The environment's great. The culture's amazing. And I just don't feel like there's anywhere else that does it quite like us.
That's what I'm paid to do. I'm paid to tell drivers how great it is. But it's true,
It's easy to sell a product that you believe in.
True.
Right? And so, the culture is our product, right? Because we don't sell a product, we sell a service. But the culture and the people behind it really help sell it for us. And so, prior to jumping into transportation and trucking, do you have any knowledge about our industry, our business?
I had absolutely no knowledge of transportation.
Yeah, and I feel like that's usually how it goes with all of us, right? But that's the cool thing about it is we didn't train anyone to do anything. And so you dive in, you're territory account manager, you're training. Are you like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming? Or were you just like, I got it?
So the thing that's cool about our position is it's very problem solving. So you may do the same thing every single day, but it's completely different every single day. So when you leave and you clock out for the day, as long as all your trucks are loaded, you have a plan for them, you shut off. And it's not like a lot of jobs where you have ongoing projects where it's, okay, I've got this huge project that's due on this certain day.
Yeah.
You come in every day, you knock your projects out, which you can use each one of your trucks as your project.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, your project has to be taken care of. But the next day you start again. And the other thing about it is a territory account manager, pretty much puts like 50 puzzles together a day. Because you plan your trucks, you have your board set, well then a truck goes into a shop, or a truck's detained at a shipper or a cons. And so now you have to rework your whole board again to make sure all those loads on your board can be picked up.
You are talking like so much transportation
That
right now.
sounds
It's like,
so stressful.
It does.
Like, my brain would just short circuit, probably.
Yeah, when you said cons, I was like, okay, like that's lingo. You know,
I've
I like
heard
that.
the word.
I know what that means.
I don't.
So your
Consignee?
cons will be your
Oh,
consignee.
okay.
Okay.
I
So
didn't know that.
Really?
that's the person
Yeah.
receiving the shipment.
Yeah, so shipper, pick up, consignee, deliver.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
See, I'm
okay,
in
well, see?
recruiting.
Yeah.
We do, lingo down there is different.
But now
So
you,
detention is when like,
So I know that.
okay.
yeah. So now you
We
can tell
gotta
your
sell
drivers.
detention pay,
Yeah, you
so-
you like drop cons when you're pitching your next like driver.
Okay,
Hey,
cool.
you know.
I know the word consignee. I just never heard it shortened to cons before.
There you go. Now you know. You're
Oh, I'm
you're locked in.
learning
Yeah.
So many things.
And I feel like it's so true with your position, especially in territory account manager world, is like it's so different every single day, but yet our mission is the same
Exactly.
mission. But new things pop up. Like you told me this morning, like we have snow now in some of your states that we're covering.
So Indiana and Ohio, well, pretty much the northern Great Lakes got their first round of winter weather,
Oh,
and so now you're
yesterday.
having to adapt to that, I
Mhm.
assume, right?
which my area will take. This winter, my area will take a great hit because, you know, you've got North Dakota, South Dakota,
Yeah.
Montana, Colorado, Utah, so all those northern states. So we'll
And
start
when they have
preparing.
6 feet of snow on the ground, kind of hard for us to move freight
Mhm.
when we have those and things that are out of our control, weather, right? Nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
But you still have to figure out a way to make the driver happy, make the customer happy. And so, being in your role for the past 2 years, do you have a pretty good relationship with your customers? Like, are you?
Oh yeah, so I think that that's something that we work as a team. Like we push them to build those relationships. Like we push for them to have contacts with their customers at least by phone or email every day.
Yeah.
We push for them to be on the phone because those relationships are huge. Those relationships that we build with them is what keeps our drivers moving.
Sure.
Because if you have that relationship, I mean, it's just like anything. When you need something, you're going to reach out to your friend before you go reach out to somebody else. So with the freight environment, you know, slowing towards the winter months, these shippers have people knocking down their door, needing loads. And if you make sure you make that relationship with your customer, they're more apt to give you the freight over somebody else.
Yeah, I think we always say like drivers have options, and they do, but so do customers. Like, you know, and I think it's so cool with transportation, and especially in our world. Like, yes, we need drivers to run our business, but we also need customers
Oh, yeah.
to make the drivers.
It's a fine balance.
Yeah,
for sure.
it really is, and so it's neat. You know, especially in operations. You know, our two biggest roles are driver managers and territory account managers, and they work hand in hand together because you need to communicate with them to see if they have trucks available, have the hours ready for this load, and so how much communication between the two teams or in operations is there?
I think it's constant. I mean, it's everything from, you know, if a driver needs a pickup number that wasn't listed on a BOL, or a driver's having an issue getting offloaded. It's just constant. A driver has a breakdown, a driver's being detained at a shipper, a driver's flagged. You're having conversations with those driver managers.
Yeah, you're putting out a fire started, you're moving, so you're
It
puzzled.
literally
and
sounds like
agitating.
you solve probably a million problems a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say, like, I was off work last Friday and came in and literally had like 400 emails in my inbox.
400?
Mhm.
My God.
Yeah.
And I called you on Friday and you answered the phone. And I felt terrible. You're like, I'm on vacation. I'm like, well, hang up with me, dude. Like, I didn't know that. I felt so bad. But that's
I'll
so
pick
good.
up the phone.
But
too.
Yeah.
that's in our role. I mean, we're always on call because
tuned in.
usually, especially when extended coverage is taking the desk. If they're having a problem getting a driver loaded, or a driver's having an issue at a shipper, like in our role, we always have to be available because at the end of the day, getting the drivers rolling is what we're here for.
Yeah, satisfying
We
the
have to
customer
support them.
and getting the drivers loaded and rolling is two main things. We read this book called Customers for Life. You guys have both read it. There's a chapter called There's No Such Thing as After Hours. And I think it's so true in our business, in our industry. Like, If a customer calls, we're going to answer.
Exactly.
9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, we're going to answer. We're gonna solve that issue. So, maybe a late pickup or a late delivery, we're going to make sure that it's been unloaded or loaded safely, and that we have what we need. And so I think that's a really neat way of looking at it, in a way for us to sell to our customers that we're going to provide that customer service that you need. Whether it's, hey, we're on time, everything's going great, we're going to give you that update, or hey, we're running a little bit behind, we're going to give you that update as well. And so breaking the bad news isn't the funnest, but it's better than and how do you do that? How do you soften that?
But that goes back to the relationship.
Right.
If you have a relationship with those customers, it's a lot easier to break bad news to them,
Sure.
because I think one of our traditions is being truthful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not going to lie to our customer. Telling them exactly what happens and why it happens is a lot easier to understand than continuing to try to back a lie with another lie.
Right.
So I think just being honest with them, which goes back to that relationship, and as long as you're communicating with them throughout the process, like, they understand transportation too. Like,
life happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
They understand a breakdown. They understand
Tire
things like
blowout.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I started my career with Melton at our brokerage, so Melton Logistics now, and I get calls and they're like, well, my shipper just dropped. Like, I haven't heard back from them at all. Like, they just ghosted me. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, that actually happens. Like, where the truck doesn't make it, and they just blow the customer off because they don't want to let them know. And that's just the worst thing ever. It helps us when we get those phone calls, because we're like, oh, well, we got you. We'll cover you.
Yeah.
It's amazing to hear, just from me talking to other drivers, how other companies act. And I'm just like, how do they get away with this?
Well, I think not only is it drivers being held responsible, but we have to hold our shippers responsible too. I mean, that's the rate my loads that the drivers do are so important, especially on the TAM side, because we have to have those difficult conversations with the customers. I mean, at the end of the day, not only is our customer a territory account manager's customer, but so is our drivers.
Yeah.
And so making sure our drivers are happy and they're getting offloaded in a reasonable time, and they're not being treated like crap at shippers or consignees. Like, those are things that we have to manage on our side and have those conversations.
Yeah, and going back to Rate My Load, we had another podcast episode with Chris Womack, who's one of our drivers, and we talked about Rate My Load. I think it's such a powerful tool for the driver, but also they need to know how much it benefits us. Those Rate My Loads, whether it's hey, this was a fantastic shipper, fantastic con, or hey, I had these issues. We can solve those issues for the drivers, and we can streamline the customer's process to meet our business a little bit better as well. And so whether it's who knows what it could be, but if we can streamline that for the customer and for the driver, it benefits the whole company. And so that's really neat. What would you give advice? You said you train all of the new territory account managers, which I've seen you do, and we have quite a few of them right now. What would be your biggest piece of advice for someone, let's just say, entering the transportation industry, entering Melton? What's your biggest advice?
I think my biggest advice to somebody entering is, well, one is come eager to learn.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this building that can't be taught. There's not a person in this building that's not willing to help you. So pretty much just come willing to learn, ready to do something new, and know that there's not an office, there's not a supervisor, there's not a director, there's not a vice president, there's not a president that's not going to be there to help you succeed within Melton Truck Lines.
Yeah,
And you learn something every day. Example, me.
Yes.
Con.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
And I've been here for 5 years.
Yeah. And I think it's the cool thing, and I'd say, to time on Donnie's point, is don't be afraid to fail. Like, everyone, in your career, you're going to fail. Don't be afraid of it. Like, if it's the right thought process and it just doesn't fall through.
I will say that's the one thing at Melton. I've been here 2.5 years, and that's kind of the first thing I teach through training is, listen, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to fail. But if you have the right thought process of the reason you failed, if somebody comes to question you of what you did wrong and your thought process is correct, it becomes a learning moment.
Exactly.
It doesn't become you're an idiot. It's okay, well, this is what we should do differently next time, but it becomes a learning opportunity and not like you're just not treated like a failure.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing at Melton that I think's different than anything I've had in my past.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think, like you said, if the right process is behind the idea, maybe you're saying, hey, I'm trying to do this to save time because we've done it this way for so long, but let's try this. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, let's come back to it, right? Let's see what else we can do and how else we can change that. And I know, especially in your world, there's a lot of opportunity to make those changes and to make, impacts on the company.
So, I mean, a lot of that goes into freight lanes. Like, you can take a lane out of a shipper that may not look right, rate may not look right, the destination may not look right, but you don't know if that lane is actually going to perform well until you do it.
Sure.
Or, the rate may be a little bit lower to another destination, but it may have a good reload out of there, so now that lane becomes a better lane, and you really don't know until you give it a shot, you try it a couple times to realize that it's a good
like that
fit.
we're willing to try new things
Yeah.
and test it out, because you're right, we don't know until we give it a shot.
Yeah, and the only way to know is to try.
Yeah.
And so, I love that. And, a lot of the offsite trainings that we do, I know both of you just went recently through some of those. But we're so open, and you talked about there's no VP, there's no director, there's no president that doesn't, that's not here to help you. That's so true. Everyone here is so willing to help and wants to hear those ideas because, we have so many tenured office employees who've been here for 15, 20 years who've done it the same way. But when we bring someone in, like you, who's been here for 2 years, hey, I've seen it this way. Let's try it this way. And it opens up to so many different opportunities. And those offsite trainings, a lot of, a big thing of that is bringing those new ideas to the table and see how we can execute them, right? And so, not to put you on the spot, but have you made any big changes? Have you done anything that's changed how we do things?
So we in our group, we actually put a training process in place. Cool. It's been about a year. So it's a training process that we meet with our new office employee weekly and have they take a test on what they've learned for the week. We have a 1 to 5 scale on different areas that they've learned, and so it's a very open communication back and forth so that they know where they stand throughout the process. And it's not like if you score bad, you're gonna get fired. We want to see progress.
Right.
That's all we want to see. And we know that there's going to be times, especially in this job, that we're going to pile things on you that another part of the job may start slacking. So then you have the scores, you have the numbers to say, okay, well, you're exceeding here now, but these numbers are kind of dropping off a little bit. What's changed? Do we need to kind of focus on that a little bit? So it's given us a really great grading tool for us and for them, so they know where they stand weekly, and it's not just coming into, I hope I'm doing a good job and they like me.
Right. And I think as the employee, a lot of insight too, and also you as the trainer, hey, I don't feel super strong in entering loads. Okay, well, let's go back and look at that. Where did I not teach you that, or did we skip over that really quick? Let's go back and review that. So I think it's a really good tool for not only the employee but also for you as a trainer to say, well, hey, if you're not feeling confident in this area, let's circle back to it. Let's do it some more, and let's make you feel confident there.
So the other part of the training that we is a lot of our culture. We start out every conversation with is Melton for you? Is this a place you want to be? Because if you hire people that don't want to be here, then your culture will start taking a turn for the bad. So you really want people who want to be here, who want to show up, who are enthusiastic, who are kind of starting to get on the train to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It messes with the whole team. You'd be surprised. Just one bad apple messes with the whole team.
Yeah, and in my job with interviews, there's always, they might say there's this one person, I hate going to work because there's this one person. I'm like, we don't have that. We really don't have that one person who's difficult to work with because, they kind of weed themselves out of that, if not, it changes because when you're surrounded by negative people, it's easy to be negative.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by positive people who want to be here, it's easy to be positive and you want to be here because it's that team environment. You don't want to be that weak link of the team.
Yeah.
And so I think you catch on very quick of, okay, we all know our mission, we all know our goal. I want to be a part of that. Let's get after it.
But I think the thing that's good with Melton too is we have so many different areas of our job.
Right.
You can have, from the outside looking to be somebody who wants to join Melton, like strategic planning and that type of thing may not be for you. So like operation or territory account manager may not be. But like if you have great people skills and you have, you know, the love of wanting to keep drivers moving and that type of thing, like then you have recruiting or you have driver manager. So like even if one spot doesn't feel like a right fit, like there's so many other opportunities that your skills could be utilized.
Yeah, and I feel like when people see Melton Truck Lines, they automatically just think drivers, right?
Yeah.
But there's a whole office here that we need to get, you know, there's accounting, there's finance, there's, you know, business analytics, there's, you know, outside repair, there's maintenance, there's so much goes into what we do.
Yeah.
And I don't think the, you know, mass knows that there's so many career opportunities within transportation, you know, because they think, oh, well, you need drivers. Well, no, we're looking for, you know, a fixed assets accountant right now, right? And you know, so people who are in accounting, like, this is a great place to be is Melton Truck Lines. So I think we can all three sit here and brag about how much we love our jobs all day.
Talk for 3 hours.
Yeah, and that's one reason, you know, while we're still here and why we're so passionate about what we do. And when you're passionate about the company, you're passionate about the industry. And I think that really catches on. I know I talked about it in a lot of the other podcasts, but like, you know, once you start diving into the industry and into what we do, you start looking big picture, not just Melton, like how the whole world is moving the freight. And it's just so interesting, and you can get lost in it pretty quick too.
For sure.
Oh yeah, my husband like hates being in a car with me
because you're looking at everything.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at everything, and then like my 6-year-old daughter, she's super intrigued, and she thinks she's gonna work for Melton Truck Lines one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she'll be like driving down the road, and she'll be like, "Oh, that's a van. That's a reefer." Hey mom, is that a Melton truck? No,
what's
sis.
Her school schedule like? You know, can we get her in here for a few hours?
Or an internship.
Yeah, she can do a little internship or something. You know, that'd be amazing.
So when she was home, and we were home for COVID during the summer, it was actually kind of funny, and my customers loved it as well, because she would be entering loads, and she would call and be soliciting freight to customers. So she had her little desk over there next to me, and she would have her phone, and she would be like, "Melton Truck Lines, this is Lila. Oh, you have a load for me?" And so, like, she's already drank the Kool-Aid, too.
Yeah, she's in, yeah. I
love that.
Yeah. And so, Donni, a little bit about yourself, family. You talked about, you mentioned the kids.
So I have a husband who does pipeline, and we've been married 14 years.
Congratulations.
And then I have a 12-year-old son. He'll be 13 in December, and his name is Riker.
Where'd you get the name Riker?
I love it, by the way.
I know, yeah, I love it too. But wait, what was the origin of that?
So it kind of goes into my husband and I's relationship. So I'm super athletic, and I was playing slow pitch one night, and he was hanging out with my mother-in-law, and they were talking about kids' names.
Okay.
I don't know. And between the two of them, they came up with the name Riker. He wishes it was Striker, but...
Striker would be pretty cool, too.
Good compromise.
Yeah.
You know?
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Riker Scott. That's a strong name.
It is.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, and I'm sorry,
And so then I have a 7-year-old daughter, just turned 7 last week, and her name is Lila.
Lila and Riker. Yep. And your husband, he's on the pipeline. Does he travel quite a bit?
So he does travel quite a bit. He does integrity work.
Okay.
So it's kind of hit and miss when he
like
travels.
In like Midland, Texas all the time? Or?
No, he's a little bit of everywhere.
Okay.
So Oklahoma, like he's in Cushing right now.
Yeah.
And then Houston area, Kansas area. So he's actually kind of lucky. He stays more central. So he's able to be around a lot more for the kids, whereas a lot of pipeline workers are gone like
we hire a lot of
at a time.
Previous pipeline workers as drivers.
Because it's kind of similar.
They go into driving later in life, or just decide to switch it up.
My mother-in-law is in oil and gas, and she's a landman, and she just moved from North Dakota to Nebraska. And so she's just all over the place, like wherever the oil is, where they need it. You know, it's such a demanding job of. When you need people, you need like 100 people, and then when you don't need people, you don't have. And so it's so up and down, but the pay is good when it's good. So he's been doing that for a while.
So he's been doing it about 5 years.
Okay, yeah, cool. And he's enjoying it.
So, yeah.
That's good. And before Melton Truck Lines, what did you do?
So I spent 17 years at Quick Trip. Left Quick Trip because I got one of those too good to be true jobs, which literally was too good to be true. And they let me go 8 months later because they couldn't afford me anymore.
Okay.
So then I spent pretty much.
Wait, what was that middle job?
It was at a print manufacturer. So we printed signage and for all kinds of different places. And then spent pretty much Q4 jobless. Went into January. Melton had an open house. I came to the open house.
I remember that.
And I think it was the last open house we had because it was right before COVID. And then landed my job here.
How'd you hear about us?
So there are quite a few ex-Quick Trippers that work here at Melton, and they all had extremely positive things to say about it, and pretty much told me to jump on board. If you've ever seen any of Quick Trip's mission statements, which they call them core values, and any of the way they align their company, Melton's pretty much hand in hand. So whenever it was leaving one culture and coming to another one, it just aligned. Like, this is where I was meant to be.
Yeah, when you're in a company for Quick Trip for 17 years, right? And I guess most of our listeners should know what Quick Trip is.
Quick Trip, yes.
But Quick Trip is like the best gas station of all time.
It's more of a wonderful convenience store / restaurant /
not Buc-ee's level.
Not Buc-ee's level.
But we actually like truck drivers.
Yes, Buc-ee's doesn't like truck drivers.
Do you not park there at Buc-ee's?
No, no truck drivers are allowed at Buc-ee's.
But
you can't even park your truck there.
You can't even park your truck.
They have those huge lots and they can't. Yeah.
I get so passionate now when I see like no driver signs. I'm like, I'm gonna drive in there and tell them to let the drivers park. They're like, who cares? You know.
So Quick Trip is driver friendly.
Yeah.
And great food.
Great service.
Great service.
You can like count change like crazy. I'm still like, if I give you 20 and it was like 11.23, you're like,
oh yeah,
you got it. So
like in my brain, I already calculated what your change was.
Yeah. Do you know what it is right now?
78 cents.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
what
my
the
God.
heck?
Fast math.
Jeez, I would have been struck. I would have been a calculator.
They don't give you. You don't have that option.
Right. Yeah. There's no.
So I actually spent 8 years in the stores before I went up to the corporate office. But they don't even give you that option. So you learn. When I was 16 years old, I mean, hopefully I learned how to count change in 2nd grade.
I did.
We didn't apparently.
But you don't have that option. Like, they don't tell you on the screen like how much change to give back. So you have to learn quickly. Like,
oh my gosh,
3 pennies, 3 quarters. Like, that's just
there.
Just there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you just have to know it. And so
That's awesome. What was your favorite?
Awesome.
So you said you moved from the store to corporate. Did you enjoy the store more, or did you enjoy corporate more?
I was at 2 different parts of my life.
Yeah.
So when I was promoted to corporate, I was pregnant with Riker.
Okay.
So my life had changed as well. I loved being in the stores. I love people. I love meeting new people.
Yeah.
So that kind of was like the bright spot for that. But working in the stores and having a kid is a very, very hard task to balance.
Yeah, because they're open 24/7.
And you were working at different locations, I assume, and bouncing back and forth from stores. And that's the one thing when we're plugging about Melton is how flexible are we with your kids?
Oh, it is. I mean, it's phenomenal. Like, I actually brag to my friends at Quick Trip still.
You're like,
I
get to go do this.
Oh, yeah. I'm like,
I'm working
at home today.
Yeah.
Kids got a 5 o'clock ball game. Like, I don't have to rush out of the office to get there. So.
And I love that. And I think all of us now, and I think it's one of the best things the pandemic taught us is, we didn't have remote before, but now we know that we can perform all the work that we can do in the office at home. And it's so much more flexible, especially for kiddos, which I don't have any yet. But I just think it's so much easier. Like you said, 5 o'clock ball game. I get done at 4:30. I don't need to drive back home, get all this stuff, and then drive to the ball field. You load up there, leave, and go. And so that's really nice. So Quick Trip, we have to ask.
Favorite snack?
Yeah, favorite snack, Quick Trip.
So when I was working in the stores, I was an avid spicy chicken taquito eater.
Ooh.
So I was in the stores pre-kitchen, so all we had was roller grills.
Okay.
You didn't have the pizza or anything like that?
We didn't have pizza or anything like that, so all we had was the roller grills.
Favorite Quick Trip donut?
I'm not a quick
I'm
trip donut
not a
eater.
quick trip donut eater.
I love quick trip
No, they're
donuts.
too bready. There's like.
I love it.
So
It's
I'm
fun.
a chocolate glaze type of girl,
Yeah.
but like I'm real specific about my glaze.
Or you
Like,
get Daylight Donuts.
You gotta
hands
go to
down.
Daylight.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like, I feel like Daylight's hit and miss. Like one will have one recipe.
You gotta go to a specific one because
Yeah.
they're all individually owned. I
Right. So yeah, Daylight Donuts I think is the overall best donut place.
Yeah.
But I do love Quick Trip's plain glazed donut. It's fantastic. Or their chocolate Long Johns. I do like those too because I like the bread. I don't know what it is, but I do
It's
enjoy it.
just too bready.
And I like their pizza. Their pizza's good options as well.
I'm a taquito girl.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Taquitos through and through.
Sorry,
Okay.
but they do
Their
have.
tacos are good. Their new tacos.
They do have good corn dogs.
I've never had their corn dogs.
Yeah, I like their corn dogs.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we've all decided on Quick Trip favorite snacks.
Yeah.
A Coke slushie, freeze. What's it called?
Frizzoni.
Frizzoni. Yeah. Love those.
I used to go hard on a Rooster Booster.
Oh,
in high
dude,
school.
Rooster Booster when they came out, yeah,
Mhm.
that was like the first energy drink I really remember.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was like before Monster. They really kind of paved the way for that.
So they came out with Rooster Booster when Monster and Red Bull got big because
Oh,
those
okay.
were the first two energy drinks that hit the market, and then
Yeah.
Rooster Booster.
it was
Interesting.
their
Interesting.
offering.
Yeah, Quick Trip's really cool. I love talking to Quick Trip people. It's fun. I talked to a guy who worked in the not the kitchen, but like the
Distribution center.
yes, and he was telling me some of the stuff that they do, and like everything's like super quality checked.
Mhm.
Like all the food has to be like a certain freshness point. Like you're not getting bad food there. Like yeah, so it's really good. Oh wait, and then I guess one more thing to tie up. We always like to talk about hobbies and things you like to do. So obviously spending time with your kids, but you were also like a stud softball player at
Yes.
some point in your life.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about softball and your love for the game.
So I played softball my whole life. I ended up going to college on an athletic scholarship, playing softball. Played until my sophomore year of college, and then met the love of my life.
Yeah.
And moved back to Tulsa and
Where were you
finished.
playing at?
So I played at Southeastern Oklahoma
Okay.
State in Durant. So it was a D2 school. It kind of breaks my heart, but makes me happy for my kid as well that softball wasn't what it was then as it is now.
Okay.
Our opportunities were not nearly as great as they are now, but I guess somebody had to pay the price and pave the way for
Yeah.
the future.
You were
So-
you were the trailblazer, man. Yeah.
So, but it's, I spend my weekends at the ballpark either watching my son play baseball or coaching our little girls.
And you were a pitcher.
So I pitched until I was 16 years old. I continued pitching through high school, but I was really dumb when I was 16. I mean,
Who wasn't?
kind of
Yeah.
right. So I had a conversation with my dad, telling him that I was tired of practicing all the time, and I never got to spend time with my friends because being a pitcher takes
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
So my competitive coach came to me and said, "Well, hey, why don't you try catching?" I'm like, "That's a fabulous idea."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're so smart, like you have a mind of a pitcher, and so like you need that pitcher-catcher relationship." So, so I was like, "Sure, I'll do it."
Yeah.
So at 16, I became a catcher, and instead of going to pitching lessons once a week, I started going to pitching lessons 3 times
Because
a
you had
week
3 pitchers to catch
because
for.
I was
Yeah.
catching all 3 pitchers. It was not the smartest
Yeah.
move in my
Yeah.
life.
That's funny. So in baseball, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but like you give the signs, one's fastball or whatever it is. Can you give different pitches in softball, or is it just
Oh,
like
yeah.
fastball all the
Oh
time?
no.
So what was like your signals like?
So I was a what were my signals?
Yeah, like
That was so long ago.
Okay.
Like in college, we did body signals. We didn't
Oh.
do hand signals.
That's
so like
cool.
each part of your body was like a
Oh.
different pitch.
so a fastball is what?
Well, most of the time there you're gonna say a fastball is like a 1, and then a changeup's a 2.
Okay.
Like that's kind of little league just getting
So
started.
your body thing though, like
But it would just like, so you would have your catcher's mask on, so like the front of your face could be like a fastball, your
Right.
left shoulder could be a screwball, your right shoulder would be a curveball, your middle of your chest would be like a drop ball, like it was just different places. So then you could always just say like, the third spot you can change it up and say like the third signal is what we're
The
throwing,
pitch.
and then if they could pick up like, oh well it's the third one, then you could say
This is the
we're
second
gonna go
one.
to the second one.
okay, so you're always changing your. So that's why they're always doing that, and what they communicate before the game
Mhm.
that whatever. Oh wait, my third place
So,
I
but
touch.
now they've gone to wristbands.
Like almost
Have
like a
you seen
quarterback?
that?
No.
Yeah, so like in softball, they actually have a play sheet like quarterback
Yeah.
and footballs.
Huh.
So they actually have a grid that tells you like the play, like what the play is or what the signal's going to be. So they'll just holler out like red, 5, 3, 2. So then you go to your wristband to the red section.
So the signals are starting to leave.
Signals.
Or maybe like when you like.
But that's no fun.
Yeah,
No,
I
like
agree.
you can see it if you watch any college softball. Like you'll see a coach sitting on a bucket, and they'll actually flash numbers, and
Yeah.
the players have it, and they just look at.
See, I love that about baseball. I like the whole like.
Yeah.
That means
But-
like steal or something like that.
But Major League Baseball has gone to the digital.
I don't know. I'm
So
not a
they
huge
have
baseball guy.
digital pitch calling now. So because the Astros picked up
Right.
everybody's
Yeah, the
signals
trash can
and,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they actually have a device now that they call the pitches on their gear somewhere, and then it like audios to the pitcher,
Okay.
and so the pitcher actually gets it digitally now.
Did your kids have a choice to play baseball or softball, or were they like you're playing?
So they did have a choice.
You had to wait. The
It was a
pause.
long
Yeah.
pause.
So my
Yeah.
son, I kind of question about, but like the older he gets, the more like
He
he's
loves
starting to love the game.
Yeah.
Lila, like we talked about, her wanting to be a Melton employee, she does everything I did.
Okay.
Like we even had the conversation of, because she plays basketball too, and she'll be like, "Mom, how long did you play basketball for?" And I'll be like, "Oh, well,
Oh,
I
she's
played."
gonna quit when you quit.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I played, a year of basketball," and she's like, "Okay. So I've played my year of basketball, so I need to quit, right?" And I'm like, "No, sis. Like, if you love
She's
it
your
and
mini
you
me.
enjoy
Yeah.
it, like you'll continue doing it."
Yeah.
But she loves softball.
Yeah.
She actually has a high schooler at Coweta that she looks up to.
That's
like,
cool.
I thought she looked up to me. I think Cheney hung the moon for her.
Yeah.
And so, but there's not a better role model that I could picture as.
And you had that
Yes.
role model growing up too, I'm sure. And so it's cool.
So I did, and there was actually a documentary, or they talked about it on the World Series of 2020.
Yeah.
I had a pen pal, and her name was Jenny Dalton Hill, and she played at the University of Arizona.
The pen pal, you're dating yourself.
I
Right
am.
there. Yeah.
I am. So she was a junior in college at University of Arizona, and I was, I think, either 8 or 10, and I met her at the World Series here at the Hall of Fame, and we actually exchanged addresses, and she would old school pen and paper.
That's awesome.
Write
so
me
fun.
letters.
Can we bring back pen pals?
I think we probably could actually. Yeah.
Like,
it's
that's
not a
so
thing anymore.
fun.
It's so much more personal to do a letter.
Yeah.
So, in 2020, 2020, I was actually able to introduce my 7-year-old daughter,
To
or
your
at
pen
the
pal?
time, 5-year-old daughter, to my pen pal
Wow.
and who I looked up to growing up.
Are you still in contact?
Oh yeah, so we're friends on Facebook. She gets to watch Lila grow up. Her daughter actually just graduated from the University of Kentucky as a softball player
Wow.
as well.
Yeah.
Actually, no, she went to Brigham Young. So I mean, it's full circle.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I always try to say that the game is actually bigger than itself.
Yeah.
The connections, relationships are so close. The 4 girls that I coach our 6-year-old softball team with, we all grew up playing together or against each other. One of the girls is actually, we weren't quite friends in high school, but now you would never know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's cool to see your kids building those same friendships and relationships that you had.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it makes everything worth it. So we were going to do a segment today where we're going to go out to the batting cages or go out to the softball field and see if I can.
Because he's convinced. That
No, I
he
said I
can.
couldn't.
No, he's convinced he can hit a bomb off
Yeah.
of
No,
me.
I probably couldn't, but I would like to try.
We're gonna do an outtake, maybe.
Yeah, well, we might do an outtake, and go out to the field one day. But awesome podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Always enjoy this. A lot of fun. Donnie, thanks for being on the program.
Yeah,
Thank you.
A lot of fun here. And so to close it out, once again, thank you for listening to the Melton True Blue podcast. If you want to get on the podcast, if you have any questions, or you want us to do any kind of fun segments, please let us know. My name's Taryn.
I'm Skylar.
I'm Donnie.
Thanks for listening.